This is the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. Thanks for watching. I'm Ty Higgins. That smell is almost here. Corn dogs, elephant ears, sawdust, all part of the Ohio State Fair coming up in just a couple of weeks. When you get there, though, you're going to notice things are looking a little bit different. There are some major changes happening to the Ohio State Fair and the Ohio Expo Center. One of the biggest changes, though, coming to its leadership. Virgil Strickler retired last year. Replacing him, the new executive director of the Ohio Expo Center and Ohio State Fair, Adam Heffron. We'll talk with Adam about his vision for the State Fair and some of the things happening now that you're going to see on the fairgrounds here in a couple of weeks. Coming up after this.
Sometimes out here, you have to speak loudly.
Our voice alone may not have as much impact as we would like, but my voice
and my voice can be heard and influential through membership in Ohio Farm Bureau.
My voice, along with tens of thousands of Ohioans,
makes a difference when it comes to legislation, regulation, or litigation that can be positive or potentially harmful to those of us in the agriculture community.
Become a member today at ohiofarmbureau.org.
Because there is strength and members.
Find out how Nationwide Agribusiness can help you grow your business. Get to know the people with the experience and knowledge to help you. Whether you are looking to protect your farm or ranch from the ground up, or need someone who understands your changing commercial ag needs. Find out how to better manage the risks of your ag business, or how quickly you can get back to business. Learn how you can protect your next with Nationwide on your side.
Just a couple of weeks away from the great Ohio State Fair, what might in a few weeks look like a fair and smell like a fair right now is under a lot of bit of construction, and there's a lot of big changes going on here, not just what's happening with the fair, but also in its leadership. The new executive director of the Ohio State Fair and Expo Center, Adam Heffron, joins us. Welcome to the podcast. Good to finally meet you.
Good to meet you, Ty. Thanks for having me.
Let's start from scratch. Tell us about yourself, where you're from, and what led you to this new role here leading the Ohio State Fair.
Well, let's see. Originally from Minnesota, by way of Wisconsin here now. Spent a little bit of time early in my career. My first career position was here, actually at the Ohio Expo Center and State Fair, mid to late 90s, and found my way back to Ohio, luckily. And so here I am. Was once director of rental services, and now I'm executive director of the whole entire enchilada here at the State Fair and Expo Center.
I know you've heard this a lot, but big shoes to fill with Virgil Strickler retiring last year. As you came into this role and went through this transition period, how did that go, and what was something that Virgil told you that you're going to stick with as you take this new role on?
Virgil had such an impact here. He was here as the ag director, I think, for about 10 years, and then as the GM executive director for another 20 years. So that's some stability that it's really kind of hard to follow. And he did such a remarkable job. And being an ag guy, he really put a lot of focus on agriculture and youth in agriculture. And so that's a good thing to follow behind. And I'm just taking his lead in that respect. And Virgil will tell me from time to time, be your own person. Just be your own person. So I'm trying to follow that advice as best I can. So he's doing well in retirement. He's left this place in a really good position, and got us to the place where we're spending a little bit of money on infrastructure and buildings, and so for that I thank him and appreciate that he's put us to where we are right now as an organization with construction and the quality of the exposition.
I think anytime you're into something new, right? If you buy a new house, you want to pick your own curtains and carpet. And so as you get into this new position, you take a look at the Expo Center and take a look at the State Fairgrounds. You're going to want to put your mark on it in some way, shape, or form. What are some of the things that come to mind as you get into this first full year of leadership of the Ohio Expo Center, and some of the things that you want to put your mark on?
You know, that is such a good question. I guess going into this role, I really never thought in terms of I want to make my mark. That was really never my goal or intention coming on board here. I think what I've tried to do, what I wanted to do, is learn through listening, paying attention, asking staff, constituents, people in government, people like yourself, interacting with on a day-to-day basis, what do you want to see happen at the fairgrounds? What do you want to see happening with the exposition in the future? What don't you want to see impacted with my tenure here? So I think when you say make your mark, it's not going to be my mark. It's going to be our staff's mark. It's going to be our leadership mark. It's going to be the community's mark, because it's not my fair. It's your fair. It's everyone's fair that attends or should be attending the fair. So I think what's changing so rapidly here, and you mentioned kind of jumping in and picking out the curtains, the big lift has taken place between the governor and the legislature, and the people of Ohio have invested a lot of money into what's happening on the grounds right now. And so, yeah, I am picking out the curtains, so to speak. Now we're into sort of the details of what do you pick out for furniture, what color do you paint something, where does this get moved to? So reacting to some things that maybe weren't planned for at this stage of construction. But construction will go on for another 2 years. There'll be plenty of opportunities to make a mark as it relates to, yeah, I picked out that color, you know, or I picked out that furniture. But I think in the end, you know, my intention coming on board was, I think the goal the Governor Mike DeWine had is how do you make this the best fair it can possibly be and the best facility it can possibly be. So we're on our way. I mean, with construction and with all that's happening right now, we're on our way from the physical side of making the property the best it can be. Now it's up to us as a team and listening to constituents, our users again, how to make this the best programming-wise event and the best facility for rental purposes that we can make it. So, you know, we have a big job ahead of us, and I really look to 2026 when this work is complete, that's going to be the year that we really take the step up as an organization with how we program all the physical site changes that have taken place.
Through this construction, we're going to have the State Fair. It's going to be great as always. It's not going to look the same. As I drove here this morning, I drove past what should have been buildings that I've worked in for many, many years that are now not there anymore, making room for these improvements that we're talking about over the next 2 or 3 years. And Adam, as we make those improvements, what can fairgoers expect? They're going to come to the State Fair. They're going to see there's some different things about it, but the things that are coming are going to make that fairgoer experience so much more enjoyable. What are we working on here to really emphasize and accentuate that fair experience?
So I think what people are going to notice, in particular over the next 2 years, is the same programming, the same excellence of what has taken place at the fair. You're going to have all the ag, you're going to have all the competition within the ag, you're going to have the auction, you're going to have entertainment in the Celeste Center. We're not going to skip a beat there. We're not compromising on what we're presenting for the 2024 fair and 25 fair. I think 26 is a whole nother conversation. We'll have it another time. But I think what you're going to find is a little shifting of some things here and there because of the site changes. You'll have a couple construction zones on the property that will be fenced off. We'll have what's called a showcase, and that will be in place of what the Ohio building where that once sat. And that will demonstrate to attendees what will be in that space during the fair and other projects that are taking place. So you'll see a couple construction zones kind of separated off and scrimmed off, but for the most part, everything else is here. People aren't going to notice the work we've been doing underground at all. They'll notice a couple buildings have been removed, but that's for the next 2 years, and in 2026, you'll see all kinds of things coming out of the ground, like a full crop of new buildings and exhibition spaces and amenities that will be in place of what was once here in the past. So don't worry, come to the fair. It's all going to be in place, and everything has been put together in a very systematic and methodical way where it's going to be an exceptional fair again in 2024.
I'm glad you mentioned agriculture. For our organization and our members, this is a big deal for agriculture, a chance to not only bring the exhibits in and showcase our work in every aspect of Ohio agriculture, but also to share it with those that may have never stepped foot on a farm. This might be the closest they get to agriculture here at the Ohio State Fair if they're coming from any of the metropolitan areas across Ohio. How do you see Ohio agriculture's role in the fair changing as we go through the changes here on the fairgrounds and make new buildings and new opportunities for people to learn about the industry?
Well, I think from the very beginning of this project, the 2050 Expo master plan, ag groups throughout the state have been involved in this planning process from the very first day. And so we've taken into consideration everything that's going on right now as it relates to agriculture. And so we haven't missed a beat there, and we continue those conversations, and they continue to be involved in the planning. Whether it's a commodity group or an organization like yourself being involved with what we do in the Ag and Hort building, those considerations are certainly, dealt with and listened to, and we're reacting within the whole project itself. So I always say that the agriculture community writes the script and we tell the story. And so that is critical and vital to us, not only from the youth standpoint, but beyond, the youth involvement in the fair. So this project itself and what we do here and what we'll do in the future is all in relation to presenting agriculture to our audience. And you are right, there's so much larger of an urban audience here. We're less agrarian, so the story we tell is more and more important and evolving, right? We know how much the ag industry and community evolves, from a science perspective, technology perspective, and that's what we have to be telling that story to our audience about the importance of agriculture and how it is evolving on a day-to-day basis. And so I think we do a very good job of telling that story, and we just have to do a better job in the future, as we've done in the past, telling that evolving story of agriculture to the people in attendance here.
With the construction, there's a lot of pivoting going on. We'll be doing that as well. Instead of the Ag and Hort building you're used to seeing Ohio Farm Bureau in, we're going to be part of the Little Farmers exhibit, where you can bring the kids and learn about every aspect of Ohio agriculture, get their hands dirty and really learn about food production. What are some of the other highlights? Not just agriculture, but things that you mentioned we're going to be major concerts here and events throughout the fair. What can people look forward to, and when are the dates of the fair this year?
Well, we're starting on the 24th of July and ending on August 4th. So that's really in the time period we've been for several years, 12 days. And so that's our dates again. And every new fair brings the tradition of what we've done in the past, but then we introduce new elements. People always want to know, hey, who's playing in the Celeste Center? Great, we've got a great lineup of artists in the Celeste Center. Sales are going very, very well. We're really excited about the bands that we have in the Celeste Center, and that changes every year, of course. You have some traditional staples in there, like Alabama, which people love, the kind of classic country music. Some new artists, for us at least. Lauren Daigle is a new artist, a couple Hispanic entertainers in the Celeste Center as well. So we have a great lineup in the Celeste Center. So that's sort of what is new every year when it comes to promoting the fair and what creates excitement. The tradition of the agriculture is here. We'll accept as many competitors as we possibly can. We have a new poster contest this year, which is fantastic. So we had all kinds of artists. Many of them submit art for a fair promotion poster. So we have a winner for that for the first year ever. We have a mural competition that will take place up near the Cox Fine Arts building. We have new foods, which is always another question people ask.
One of my highlights.
Everything seems to be pickle oriented, whether it's pickle and lemonade, pickle on pizza. There's a few other items. I have to have a cheat sheet in front of me because I read it first this morning and was darn excited about the new foods, and so I don't want to miss a couple of them. Deep fried buffalo chicken bomb.
There you go.
Yeah, and I love this. This one sounds great. Cleveland corned beef egg roll. I don't know how you can improve an egg roll, but corned beef inside of it sounds like a really good step up with an egg roll. And so those are a few of the items. We have a new food avenue, we call it. It's on the north side of the Celeste Center. So all these new foods will be mostly represented in these new food stands on the north side of the Celeste Center, adjacent to a stage with bands and music and beer. And also we have a couple new beer gardens coming online. One right over here adjacent to the to the Coliseum, Taft Coliseum. We have a new beer garden that will service this whole Central Park area. So food, drink, entertainment, agriculture, poster contests, which involves involvement of youth and adults to the fair. So a lot of great things. Pets, sheepdogs will be here in the doghouse. So everyone loves dogs and pets, and so that's a new addition as well. So there's a million things, and I could sit and read the list, but go to our website and see all that's new and being offered at this year's fair.
You had me at deep fried, and I know there's going to be milkshakes right over there, there's going to be ribeye sandwiches right over there, and pulled pork right over there. So those are some of the highlights for me as well.
Well, and Ty, I should mention, you talked about the commodity groups. The Ohio building is no longer with us. That old spaceship round building flew away on us, just took off one day. So the commodity groups, along with the beer garden and some entertainment, is moving to one of the old exhibition buildings, the commercial building on the south end of the grounds called the North Commercial Building. I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be really cool. Warm, we're doing some fan work in there. It's not climate controlled, but it's going to be awesome. The whole entertainment environment with music and beer garden and all the commodities serving their foods and the barbecue smell on that end of the grounds, I think will be really attractive for people that love that sort of interaction at the fair. So I just want to make sure I didn't forget that part.
And it all culminates on the last day of the fair with the Super Bowl of Ohio agriculture, the Sale of Champions. Adam Heffron, the new executive director of the Ohio State Fair and Ohio Expo Center. Great to meet you, get to know you, and thank you for all the great information on the fair this year. Looking forward to seeing you.
Thanks for your support. Appreciate you being here, Ty.
I'm Ty Higgins. This is the Ohio Farm Bureau Podcast. We'll see you down the road.